Awesome nominees, amazing music that kept on pushing the boundaries of quality and technicality for male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups. Memorable performances and outstanding CD releases in a surprising yet quiet year. It's time to check the winners as voted by you at the THTFHQ Awards 2024. Let's kick off this episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Welcome to SEIYUU Lounge. I'm your host Vanessa, and today's topic is, of course, the THTFHQ Awards 2024. This is a talk about the winners. So, this is a condensed episode featuring your choices of Rising Star of the Year, 2D Group of the Year, Best Band or SEIYUU Unit of the Year, Album of the Year, and Solo Artist of the Year. Now, without further ado, let's check the winners of the THTFHQ Awards 2024. Rising Star of the Year. So, I'm checking the chart right now for the very first time. I haven't prepared any kind of script this time around because I want to react to these results without sounding too scripted. So, in this case, we have in first place Yuki Sakakihara. I feel that this was something that it was bound to happen. I feel that this was also the last year that Yuki Sakakihara was eligible for this category because he's already 30 years old. Last year, he was quite active as part of Badass Temple in the Hypnosis Mic franchise, as well as Phi with the From Argonavis franchise. Of course, he has been part of many other 2D music franchises at the moment. He has joined 18 Trip as well, and is part of Lamps. So he has been doing a lot of awesome work and is slowly getting more and more eyes on him. And I feel that out of all the people in this Rising Star category, it was the one that was showing in a short amount of time. He actually showed a lot of talent and caught a lot of people by surprise. Out of everyone in the list that was eligible for this year, he is the one with the highest voice tone. He has the highest voice range by far. He's really high when he wants to, but I feel that he has a really good control all over the vocal range. He can do a little bit of everything, and you have that example with Badass Temple when he goes to the whole dramatic Visual K vibe, and when he actually ends up rapping he's also pretty amazing. With Phi, he does an amazing job as well, bringing a lot of energy and style to the performances, and with Lamps he's really smooth and really careful. I really enjoy his voice. Yuki Sakakihara is your choice and is an amazing choice, so you have your winner in the Rising Star of the Year category. It is Yuki Sakakihara. 2D Group of the Year, and this one I am quite surprised with how much fight there was to that title, and the title is going to be shared, believe me, between two amazing groups. And there was, of course, a couple of others here that I loved a whole lot and I wanted to see them getting more love, which they didn't, but I'm not going to dive into that because I'm not talking about the ones that didn't get the award. But in this case, we are going to have Kranv and Idolish7 sharing the award. So this is crazy. This is the first time that two people or two groups actually tie in voting. So I was not sure how to do this, but we are going to cover both because both won. And Kranv, of course, Kranv was absolutely amazing since the start of the year. They really did an amazing job with Raise. That album is off the charts, or should I say EP. It is unbelievably good. It is one of the most disruptive pop albums of the year by far when you compare with every single other 2D pop group out there releasing music in 2024. They had the most unique sound. You can instantly tell it is Kranv and no other group out there, even without the vocals. They have a really unique style and vibe, and when it comes to the vocals as well, they have one of the most cohesive and, I should say, complete vocal lineups out there. So I'm quite surprised and really happy to see Kranv here getting the love that they deserve, when I thought that other franchises would get more attention than the Versus Ambivalence franchise. So it's really awesome to see them getting this type of love and to see so much support for Kranv. Kranv is one of the winners, but the other group sharing the spotlight with them is Idolish7. And Idolish 7 had an amazing year. They released a couple of digital singles throughout the year, celebrated their basically 9th anniversary, and released Leading Tone by the end of the year. And Leading Tone easily took the title of the best CD released by a 2D group in 2024. Yes, I loved Cram's Raise, but Idolish 7's Leading Tone was even more impressive because of the growth the group underwent, not necessarily because of how unique or anything else their sound is, because their sound is still unique, but the unique factor about Idolish 7 was the growth that the group underwent and how they sound much more mature, and they sound even more confident and powerful and cohesive, and as a unit, as a team, they sound really amazing right now. Both the SEIYUU have changed a whole lot to now sounding unbelievably good, but the characters have also grown, and we can tell that growth by the way they are singing and the music that they deliver to us. So I feel that Leading Tone was an amazing album. Idolish 7 did an amazing job in 2024 by far. They celebrated an amazing milestone, 9th anniversary, and they managed to release by the end of the year one of the best albums of 2024, hands down. They basically threw it out of the park for me, and I feel that for you it was exactly the same, because you chose Idolish 7 as one of the best groups of the year, your favorite group of the year. And in this case, they share this stage and this award with Cranv. So this is an amazing thing in here. We have Cranv and Idolish 7 sharing the 2D Group of the Year award. Best Band or SEIYUU Unit of the Year. In this case, we have the winner, Sir Vanity. By a landslide, Sir Vanity won this award. I was expecting a fight to be tighter with Gran Rodeo, but Sir Vanity won it really, really easily, which is surprising for me. But at the same time, if we look at what Sir Vanity is doing, they are doing a kind of disruptive approach to rock music, or to music in general, because as Yoshiki Nakajima said, they are not necessarily a rock band, they are a band that performs a wide variety of music genres. They are not tied to a music genre in specific, but they are a band that ties rock music in a way with fashion. And I love this mixture of concepts and vibes, because in the past we had bands that mixed art, let's say painting, with rock music, which was Old Codex. And I feel that this type of concept with rock bands, especially rock bands led by male SEIYUU, actually does pretty well, because they are showcasing different passions and tying different passions to their music. In this case, Sir Vanity ties fashion with their music, and I feel they are, and this is not really that much of a cliche, they are one of the most stylish, if not the most stylish band among male SEIYUU-led bands by far. In 2024, they released a single, they held a live show, and people are really, really excited about them, because they are showcasing a quality that's, for a project that started as a joke, they are really, really serious about it. So it is really impressive to see them creating something like this, and their music is really amazing. I feel that having two lyricists at the same time, twin vocals, twin guitars, and twin lyricists, because Yoshiki Nakajima and Yuichiro Mehara are sharing the stage, basically in all fronts. It's really impressive to have them together working like this, and they have a really good dynamic going on between them. Of course, Taisei is also writing lyrics from time to time, and of course, Kuwabara is performing the bass and composing the songs. Kuwabara is one of the best composers for 2D music by far, and you see him shining with Sir Vanity, creating some of the most iconic songs they have released so far. They go from the heavy stuff, really hard rock stuff, to the softer ballads and jazzy tunes. They do a little bit of everything in between. And I find that the variety that Sir Vanity brings, they are a band at their core, but they are a band that is so versatile that they can perform any kind of music genre. And I feel that these, alongside the fact that Yoshiki Nakajima and Yuichiro Mehara are right now considered hot stuff in the SEIYUU industry, actually helped them getting here. Of course, on my end, I will say it is the massive talent that they bring with every performance that they deliver that actually makes Sir Vanity so impressive. They easily became one of my favorite bands by far. Sir Vanity brings a lot of things that are really different, and when there are not enough rock bands, I feel there aren't enough bands by male SEIYUU or fronted by male SEIYUU. It is nice to see one coming so strongly and so seriously, despite not really taking themselves that seriously by the end of it. So I really like the dynamic that Sir Vanity have, and I feel that you guys also like, because Sir Vanity won this category by a landslide, really. So that's your winner in the Best Band SEIYUU Unit of the Year. It is Sir Vanity. Best Album of the Year. And I am grinning like crazy because I was not expecting this victory to happen. Believe me, because this album was slightly criticized. It was lukewarm, the reception it got in Japan specifically, and there was not enough talk about it, I feel, in comparison with previous albums. But your winner in the Album of the Year category is Soma Saito's Fictions. And I was not expecting this at all. And this is quite impressive because, as I said, the album was not really well received in Japan. The album sold poorly, and it was the album that ended Soma Saito's streak of albums all ranking on Oricon's top 10. The album didn't even get into top 10 and sold really poorly in comparison with In Bloom and Quantum Stranger. So this is surprising, and at the same time, it is interesting to see that international fans were more keen on liking and loving this album than Japanese ones, because this album was barely mentioned in Japan among the Japanese fandom, but when it comes to international fans, this album actually got the #1 spot. So I'm quite impressed about it. I'm really, really happy to see this album here. This is a collection of short stories. Each song is a short story. They are not connected between them, so this is not an interconnected style of composition like Soma Saito usually does. This is more of a stray thoughts style of composition and writing style. So each song is an individual song. You can listen to those outside of listening to the album itself, whereas usually you need to listen to Soma Saito's albums from start to finish to understand the story and the concepts, and for the songs to hit you. So in this case, in Fictions, you can listen to any song that you find in there by yourself without listening to the rest of the album, and the song will have a short story, a short message to you, or a short thing that you will feel immediately when you listen to the song. You don't need the rest of the album to actually understand it, because this time around Soma Saito changed things around and made it the album the clearest and the easiest one to get into. So anyone can actually listen to this album and not have the pressure of, I have to read a review to actually understand these, or I have to read a book to understand that part, or I need to study that thing because he brought something from metaphysics or something like that to understand things like that. I remember Schrödinger Girl, people actually had to check what is the Schrödinger thing around the concept. So this time around, we have something really simple, and I feel that this album resonated more with international fans because of that, because there is no pressure whatsoever to try to get into a behemoth of an album and try to understand a massive story across several tracks. In this case, you can enjoy this album really relaxing without having any type of pressure, because each song is a chapter, each song is a mini story that you can enjoy by itself. So your album of the year is Soma Saito's Fictions. I'm surprised because I was not expecting this one to win, especially because of the discourse during the time the CD was released and how things went really weirdly in Japan in regards to this album and people not enjoying it at all or much. Your winner in the Album of the Year category is Soma Saito with Fictions. And your solo artist of the year, and this one you were really consistent, and it is a landslide win by far. There is a difference of almost 20 votes between the first and the second one, and the winner is Soma Saito. So, this was a massive year for Soma Saito, although this was one that I feel was not as successful as previous ones. The live shows were, of course, sold out by the end of the year. He released Fictions, which was a massive release, something that Saito had never tried before, basically creating individual stories for each song, and the songs are not interconnected in any way. The concept as a whole is one, but the songs are only fractions of the approach he has to that concept, or those concepts of loneliness and longing and nostalgia. But the songs mostly touch upon those points, but they are not interconnected in any way. You don't have one protagonist going from the first to the last song. You are not following their story, basically. You are following several stories, one contained in each song, like I said before. So he did something really different with this. He also started the album really strongly. The first time that he started an album really strongly was with Fictions. Hammer Girl is an amazing way to start an album. I've said it before, this is the best song he has so far starting an album. And when I talked about Yin Yang, for example, I didn't even remember that Rakuen was the opening song, because Rakuen, in comparison with other songs that are opening his albums, is quite forgettable. Not to take credit from it, this song is amazing, but it is not a really good way to open an album. It is really, really intense, really powerful. This is an album that actually caught my attention, caught the attention of many of you international fans just like myself, because you actually voted him, or at least Fictions, as the album of the year in these awards. But the album didn't get that much traction in Japan. Japanese fans were not really that fans of this album. This is, I feel, and this was completely improvised as an episode, this was my impressions about your winners in the THTFHQ Awards 2024. There's going to be much more in 2025, and we are already 2 months into the year. There's already plenty of awesome CDs to talk about, and I hope that we have awesome CDs to vote for and artists to vote for the 2025 edition of these awards that will be in January 2026. So do look forward to that. If you didn't vote in these awards, you can vote for next year's edition. Thank you very much to everyone for voting and participating in these awards as well. Thank you very much for watching this episode, or watching or listening to this episode if you are on a streaming platform, and for supporting the THTFHQ. You have been participating more and more with each year, and I'm quite surprised to see a lot of people getting into these awards and participating. So thank you very much for participating. This is for fun, but it is good to see where your heart is with the artists, with the music released, with the interesting tales that we actually end up experiencing with each CD, with each song, with each artist, with each group, with each franchise. So it is really fun to see that happening. So I'm quite happy to see these and to see that you guys actually wanted to vote and voted. So thank you very much for that. I'm saying this twice, but yeah, thank you very much for that. So let's dive into the outro of this episode, which is a scripted part that I recorded at a different time. So let's go to that. If you want to know my take on 2024's best songs, albums and voice actors that impressed me the most and more, head over to the THTFHQ's website or check the description for direct links to my Year in Review 2024 features. With that being said, now tell me, who was your favorite solo artist of the year? Alternatively, which was your favorite 2D group or music project in 2024 and why? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of SEIYUU Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the THTFHQ's weekly male SEIYUU and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male SEIYUU artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of SEIYUU Lounge. Thank you for listening, and see you guys around.